All right, I think we're recording. Let's go. What do we got? We are on Monday, aren't we? Monday, December 8th, and we're about 5 minutes until market open. Overall, I have a bullish bias for the open up until about the previous week's high, and then at which point I might expect some kind of bearish reaction. So that's kind of the idea. We have midnight open. Price is hovering around it at the moment, currently retesting it. And then London high was taken. So we have Asia, London, purple. London took Asia's high, retraced into the 50%, and is pushing a little bit higher. I suppose we have the question of, could this be the high? I don't know. Let's take a look. So locally, I'm noticing this trend line liquidity. I like that. We do have some liquidity down, some relative equal lows right here. Whole bunch of them. And then these two relative equal lows down here. Minor is what I wanted. So we're trading down. And the question is, at the open, is there an option for a long? So I don't know. I've already tapped into this 15-minute fair value gap, tapped into midnight open a few times. Kind of anticipating low of the day to some extent due to the 1 hour chart, or at least low of the session. So price is distributing pre 9:30. We have this fair value gap, this BISI. Been tested a bunch of times. I don't like it when it comes back down into these fair value gaps again. So here on the 4 hour, we can see all this liquidity above. We do have this 4 hour volume imbalance. That's a nice spot. So I could see price coming down into here. So more accurately, I do have an overall bullish bias for the most part. We have tons of liquidity below us, but I don't think it's ready for it. I don't think. So here I could see price coming down into this volume imbalance for a long, potentially. We got 2 minutes until open. On the daily, you know, it's creating SMT. It's taken this high right here. Not that it has to come up into this high in this fair value gap, but I feel like it wants to. How it gets there, that's the question. We just don't have any nearby gaps for it to reasonably retrace into and then go there. Other than this is just way overextended, which it's in need of a retracement. But is that right now? So let's go back here to the 15-minute. Here's the 1 hour. There's no levels right in here. YM's consolidating. ES is still moving bullishly along with in sync with NQ. So that's good. So here's this volume imbalance. And so while price is bullish, I could see it coming down to that volume imbalance before coming up into the previous week's high. At which point then maybe it reacts and reverses bearishly there. So what do we got? 1 minute, less than 1 minute to open. Let's go back to the 1 minute chart. All right, so we've taken some minor liquidity and created these gaps right here. All right, open pushes down a little bit. Into that 15-minute fair value gap. Opening range is below us still. Ooh, wow, look at that candle. This looks like one of those candles, if it closes, that you could just basically long the close and do something like that. I don't do it, but I've seen so many of those instances. You know, it forms like a breaker here. And despite having all of this gap below, it doesn't really want to return. You just find the nearest break or set a limit order like that. So, oh, it's not closing. It's going to close above this, maybe, this breaker. We'll see. So yeah, you just mark it in right there. Give it a stop, something like that. Shooting for previous week's high. Go break even. But there was no long for me here. YM is falling off a cliff, so they're decoupling. It appears NQ is desynced now, at least on this time frame, the 1 minute. And even on the 15 minute, now that I'm looking at it so far. Look at YM coming down here for Asia low, London low, previous New York lunch low. ES is coming for Asia low. So, gosh, that really is interesting. That's kind of how we can tell that this is a fake move when they're all decoupled like this. This is the Judas. Oh, so it would have gotten stopped at break even on this one. And that wasn't even a model, I just have observed it. Now, I'd much prefer longs today. That would be in alignment with the overall order flow. So this here is our first presented fair value gap, 930 candle. You can do it either way, 930 or the candles thereafter for the first presented. I've noticed that the 930 candle presenting a gap is significant. This gap overlines with a consolidation. So here we have accumulation, manipulation. Tough to short it if it hasn't taken the previous week's high. Not that it can't not take it. I've definitely seen that happen before. And it looks like it's setting up for a nice short. Taken buy side liquidity, created this imbalance, this fair value gap to flip, but I don't want to short anything yet, and against this bullish order flow. And I'm not going to get anything here I want in the next couple of minutes, though. I can see that. But I'll be right back. Quick second. Okay, what do we got? Anything happen? Nothing really. So let's zoom out a little bit. Really, to me, it looks like it's setting up for a long. NQ might not give it. YM probably will. Came back down into this inefficiency. But who knows? It could just leave this liquidity for later and provide nothing. So nothing for me, at least. Maybe someone has a trade in here. But we do have regular trading hours gap below. 1 hour chart. And really, I would like that for a long. If it left this high close to this previous week's high, comes down into here, this volume imbalance, I could see longing there. We are forming a bearish SMT up in here. I don't have my SMT indicator on, do I? Which, if you want some of your SMTs drawn for you, and in this case, look at all of them. There's a link to the indicator below. I like it because it's one of those indicators. It's a one-time fee. It's super affordable. It's the only paid indicator I actually would recommend to anyone. And in this case, there's a lot of SMTs. Excuse me. So it's almost too many, which is why I turn it off sometimes. Because now it's just like there's SMTs everywhere. Oh, back over here on the 1 minute. Looking like price did close below that gap. So now this is an inversion. So where are we going? What are we doing? At this point, it's not perfectly clear to me. And that's where, for me, I just have to be patient and wait for it to become clear. There was nothing that it reversed off of up in here that I could justify a short. And even still, shorts would be against the order flow, so I'd be more hesitant on a short. I would much prefer it to come down. For no reason, I'm not seeing any reason why it needs to come down from here. Maybe it's a rejection. I saw a 1 hour rejection block. But in terms of an inefficiency, and if it wants to come down, that's fine. Without a reason, that's cool. Oh, wow, look at that candle. We don't have news today, though, do we? No news. We have FOMC this week, which means Monday's likely to be one stage in continuation, which means something like this, where as opposed to price kind of moving more like this, we kind of tend to get more price movement like this. Two stages, or to say it more clearly, two stages when you get clear reversals. One stage is where price just moves like that. And of course, on the 1 minute, there's going to be two-stage delivery quite often. 930 is offering a two-stage delivery. See, here's a reversal. Let's see here. We don't need the SMT indicator. There's a lot going on. So waiting is a trader's true craft. Like right now, I'm not totally sold on anything. So it's my job not to sit here and force it and try to figure it out. I need price to move to one of my zones. I need price to move up into here. I need price to move down into here. At which point, I'll be able to create a narrative that makes sense to me and then can confidently engage in a setup. YM, making the model. I was kind of saying that YM might do the thing. But YM is not at a level I would, any inefficiency that I would consider longing, so. Well, it's just not clear to me at the moment, and that's okay, because like, it's not clear every day. Or to say it differently, it won't be clear every day. And I found that out a ton in my back testing. And I found the days that I don't see what's going on, I need to be patient and wait. And by that, it just means either further in the session for more clarity, further in the day for more clarity, or skipping the day altogether. So YM came down into a 15-minute fair value gap. No 1 hour inefficiency, no 4 hour inefficiency. So for me, that I couldn't have trusted a long on this here personally. So this inversion's holding up. Flipped midnight open, the blue line. We have some equal lows. We have London low, Asia low, previous day equilibrium, and then a previous first presented fair value gap. Here is, according to this indicator, the first presented fair value gap today. I forget the exact distinction ICT says, when to use the 930 versus not, but I'd consider them both. All right, so price is distributing. Asia lows taken, London lows taken. All right, the 1 hour is in the volume imbalance. So for me, we're getting bullish SMTs on the 1 hour. Currently, not confirmed. We tapped into the new week opening gap. "15 minutes SMT. So we are in the 950 macro. The regular trading hour gap is balanced. I like all this trend line liquidity right here, locally at least. All those highs are above us. At which point I would like to see all of them turn around. So can ES make the model here too? We shall see. I don't know what'll happen. Maybe it doesn't make my model. Maybe it makes my model and leaves without me. Maybe it makes my model and stops me out. So those are the three choices, right? Or well, there's a few more choices, but ones that are important to create expectations for. So I'm creating the expectation that it might not make my model, that it might make my model and leave without me, like no FOMO, no chasing it. It might make my model and I win. It might make my model and I lose. So I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4 relevant choices. So right now it's looking like it's not wanting to make the model, looking like it probably wants to roll a little deeper. We have a new 1 hour candle in 7 minutes. That's also the new 4 hour candle, which is cool. I like positioning myself at the beginning of a new candle. What I don't want to see here's currently a tailless candle. I want to see it push down and create a tail. There we go. So YM is going to make a 15-minute C2 candle. ES looks like it could too. But that we'll see where that confirms. I don't like how it's slow right here. I want to see this make a V-shaped recovery with momentum. The more it consolidates down right here, if it were to close above, the more hesitant I would become on this setup. So even just given that, I would back off to 2 mics. Kind of creating a little bit of liquidity under here. I don't like that. If it wants to take it and then go, okay. But I'm not liking this long. We're seeing a consolidation here. This is one of the lower probability reversals when we tap into a key level and we get a little bit of consolidation. That's probably the lowest probability reversal pattern. It's not a reversal pattern, but like when you're looking at your reversal pattern, whatever it is, if it's an inversion breaker, order block, whatever it is, we want to see it tap into a level and respond like that. We don't want to sit here, see it tap into a level and do something like this and then respond and then stop you out. So YM is still kind of grinding upwards a little bit. So far would have been a 3R trade on YM, but I don't trade YM and it didn't tap into a level that I would be confident longing if I did. All right, we got 2 minutes left until a whole bunch of new candles, higher time frame candles. See how it's starting to roll over a little bit? If it wants to come down once more, then I'd be interested in a long again. So far, more or less high resistance liquidity run. We can see since the open, we haven't moved a ton. We came up 300 ticks, and then we've come down 200 ticks, so roughly 500 or 600 ticks, but done it pretty slowly. One more minute. All right, so here's our new candle. So here on the 15-minute, we can see YM closed a C2 candle, MES. ES closed a C2 candle, NQ did not. So here's still a C1, if it is a reversal of some kind at this point. So on the 1 hour, we tapped into the volume imbalance that I was looking for, previous to equilibrium. However, this candle closed below. pretty much everything, forming a 1 hour change in state of delivery potentially, though that change in state's against order flow, and I'm not one for picking tops against NQ. I've learned my lesson. So yeah, we do have a 1 hour change in state. I'm expecting that to fail. I would long against that change in state, I think, given this volume imbalance, the 4 hour. So ES did have a 4 hour change in state. YM did not. Now here on the 4 hour, what else is below? Tons of liquidity. But this gap's already been rebalanced a bunch of times, so I don't expect this gap to be a target or do anything. Maybe some of this liquidity, the bottoms of these candles, maybe. The other option is it is a reversal. We do have a bearish SMT here. I don't think so, though. Here's all of this liquidity it left. And maybe it leaves it for FOMC this week. I don't know. So what are the clues are there here? Well, the 1 hour, we currently have this inefficiency. So it's red because I would expect it to be rebalanced. Oh, the 1 minute's moving. But nothing for me here. If it closes above this fair value gap and forms an inversion, I don't have any interest in this trade anymore. See these relative equal lows. Mister? Oh, getting your iPad? 8:03, so there's 7 more minutes. Excuse me. Left in this macro. I did not sleep good last night, and I didn't sleep terrible. So otherwise, my rule is I wouldn't trade if I didn't sleep. But I don't normally hot tub. Well, normally for years I've hot tubbed like right before bed, and that's one part of our evening routine, like wind down. 9 o'clock at night, me and the wife would go hot tub on the deck, and we have acreage overlooking nothingness, so we can just see for miles, and we see several. We're against a mountain range and see several other mountain ranges. It's just amazing, and that's what we do most evenings. We don't watch TV. We typically go do something like that just for years now, and whatever it is, I don't know what's going on. Ever since I feel like I quit coffee, I'm drinking tea. So now this is, I think, week 6 or 7 of no coffee. Feel like I've been way warmer and at nighttime. And like last night we took a hot tub. I got so hot, I was up for a bunch of the night and just couldn't cool down. I actually ended up just walking around the house in my underwear, barefoot. We have like brick floors, brick and tile floors, so it can get pretty cool. And ended up just walking around in the middle of the night trying to cool myself down, and so it was interesting. And that's all I'm saying is I didn't sleep that great. I don't know why I'm saying that. I forgot the thought. Oh, the yawn. The yawn's what triggered me to say that. But I didn't. And part of it is relating to trading, in that my rule is if I sleep terrible, I don't trade. In the case of today, I slept reasonable. Like my Whoop gave me an okay enough score, sleep score, that also corroborated with what my belief on my sleep was. And then I was up early enough to do a walk on the treadmill before hitting the charts and feel good enough that I decided I can trade. So price is currently just kind of going into a consolidation. We can see ES flip that gap, but just went into consolidation mode. Excuse me. Maybe I'm more tired than I think if I yawn twice. YM formed a breaker. So YM's looking a little better, but here we can just see price is not really moving out of this accumulation zone for the moment. So I'm not super stoked on that. So this is where the trader's craft is patience. Like, just gotta wait. If we wait, the odds tilt in our favor. If we wait for obvious, the odds tilt in our favor. And if we wait for perfect, the odds tilt in our favor. Now, obviously, we balance that to some extent because too perfect, too obvious, too much waiting can lead to pretty much no trading. But that's also not a bad thing. I guess we're just waiting. So here in my back testing, I'll show you this since I got it up on a tab. Like, look at this month of May back testing. So I traded only half the days and I'm up 2.4K or 10R. And this was really interesting to me to see this, to see how many days I traded. And I still did really well. And then similar to this month here, April, look at how little I traded. I think I ended up skipping this entire week and change because price action was just not great. And the previous 2 months it sucked, so I just kind of got like realized, well, I need to skip some time, obviously. And we can see here this similar result. I'm up 2.3K, which is 10R in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days. 6 trading days out of an entire month. Like, we don't have to trade every day. And so this for me is kind of really sinking in. This. So if you don't know, I'm doing a year-long backtesting session, and I'm recording it all and posting it here on YouTube. I'm not doing it live. It's just easier because I record a ton of the data, and that would suck to make people sit through all the data recording that I'm doing. But one of the big, there's so many takeaways I've gotten from this 1 year backtesting session, and particularly not because it's backtesting, but because I'm backtesting 1 year. And usually what I would do, I'd do it, pick a month and go do it. And it would be green or it would be red, and I'd be either a good trader or a bad trader based off of those results. Whereas here, I'm going for a full year no matter what the outcome was. And you can see the first couple of months, look at my net cumulative P&L, like drawdown, break even, drawdown, break even, drawdown, and then look at this. Had I just given up in any of these periods, I wouldn't be up 10R or whatever it is I'm up. So huge lesson right there. That there will be red months, but that doesn't mean you can't trade. And then this other lesson here is, look how far and few between I traded on this month, and I still had a good month. Again, 2.2K on a 50K account. And obviously, if you copy trade that, that's some good income. And so this is where waiting is a trader's true craft. And that's kind of where I was referencing that. All right, back to this. Holy moly. Nothing's happening. We're out of the macro anyways. So I'm going to take a quick break between these two macros while I have a chance, and then we'll see if we get anything in the 1020 macro. we got here? I forgot more tea. Nothing. So these equal lows were taken. So 15-minute did form C2, but it's not. Nothing. I'm looking over here. The 15-minute did form a C2 candle, so C1, C2, but this is coming down, taking this. Already took this low. We don't want to see the third candle go more than 50% of the C2. So yeah, YM is got bearish order flow on the 15. So does ES. So here's this volume imbalance that I was looking for along. We do have an 4-hour unconfirmed SMT, 1 hour unconfirmed. I wouldn't count on it. Holding. Oops. So this is if it's bullish. If it's going to be bullish, I want to see it respond somewhere in here. Here's the previous day equilibrium. So similarly, if it is a bullish day, we want to see price respect the previous day equilibrium to some extent. And coming deep down into here makes me feel a little less bullish. So what do we have? And there's lots of liquidity. Look at all these lows for it to come get. One, oops. A lot of lines, huh? So this is going to be one of those boring sessions where it might not give anything, and if it does, it's going to be a while before it wants to give me anything. So I think in light of that, I'm going to call it a day, at least for the recording, the streaming part. It's possible I could take a trade a little later. I mean, there's still 2 hour and a half left in this session that I'm supposed to be in front of my computer for, but I think it's just gonna make for a boring stream, and I'm gonna be getting up and taking breaks a lot, because if I don't see it, it's just not there. So whereas some days when price moves, it's got the volatility and it's got the PD arrays, that there's the possibility, depending on what it chooses to do, there's a possibility for a number of setups in a session. And at the moment, it's just not looking good. This is not high probability price action. And it's not to say it couldn't change, but it needs to move somewhere to change. Like, this is just high resistance, bearish delivery. It could take a quick dump here, and if so, I might keep an eye on it. There we go. It's starting to push lower. So a 1 hour liquidity zone has been taken. We're possibly forming a fair value gap. Technically 4 hour liquidity's been taken. So this gap is, oops, did not form. So the only setup for today was a short off of this inversion but it was outside of macro. It didn't tap into the level that I was looking for and would have been super high resistance. So what would I have, maybe let's see here. Suppose I mark it in on here. Ooh, I probably would have, so here's the gap. I probably would have put my stop above the bodies of that. I might have been stopped out. Might have been. I could have done it there too. So hard to say which I would have done. But even still, what would be currently holding for 3R, that would have been a long trade. But I didn't take it because it didn't tap into this previous week's high. All right, so we're taking sell side down in here. At this point, it's starting to look like it wants to roll over and continue for bearish delivery. So here is the Judas up, and then they resynced for bearish delivery. Boy, now it's moving. Now it's going to potentially make my model, but I don't like it. Cleared out a ton of liquidity. So I don't think I trust this. It tapped into a gap that's already been used. It did clear out a bunch of liquidity on the 1 hour. So all these levels have been cleared out here, 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 and we are in discount, but there's no 1 hour gaps. Well, there's one right there, but that one's been used a bunch. And we're below it. We're below the volume imbalance. We did tap into this 4 hour gap again. So internal to external, internal to external. I can't take it, which is a bummer. I just don't trust it. I think the 4 hour could start consolidating. The 4 hour could start rolling over. This is where it's not 100% clear to me. Although, because this gap has been used so many times. I like fresh gaps. And it's looking like it wants to push. 15-minute has some inefficiency above that does need to be rebalanced at some point. Tailless candle. Just seems more like bearish delivery now. Now that we've crossed this regular trading hour gap, this new week opening gap, we're retesting the weekly quarter, the quadrant, the 0.25 quadrant, on top of this volume imbalance that's been flipped, which currently, so we do have the volume imbalance on the weekly. We also have this gap. So the 1 minute's making an order block on top of it. So there's an extra layer of confirmation for a long. I think I'm going to be done here. I feel a little torn in that. Am I missing the trade? And so I've already made the decision. I'm not going to take it. I don't like it. There's aspects of it that I'm just questioning. So given the quality of price action, like I was just saying earlier, I'm okay missing this. It's not A plus. While the lower time frame may look A plus, the higher time frames are not looking good. So it'll probably run without me. That's okay. Where's 1R? So 1R is about that candle right there. So I'd go break even. Come on. I'd be breaking even right here. So I'd at least be risk-free in the trade. Just making some notes as to why I didn't take it. So cool. I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna let that one play out without me. It's possible it's a winner. I couldn't justify it, so. So yeah, I guess I'll end the stream there. If it wins without me. I don't care. And part of it is I know like right now one of the clues I have is the indecision. Like I can see it on the lower time frames. So many things, but on the medium and higher time frames, it's just not jiving. And I know when I get that feeling, that's when it's just more so gambling. So, and I don't know. It looks like is it coming down for my break even? We'll find out. But we have FOMC this week, so I'll be streaming Monday and Tuesday, today, tomorrow, AM. And then Wednesday for FOMC, I don't know. I've noticed the FOMC mornings lately have been nicer than the PM sessions. So